Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, I should have said that differently? Maybe it was with your boss, your partner, a colleague, a friend. And instead of solving the problem, the conversation became awkward, emotional, defensive, or completely silent. The truth is, difficult conversations are not just communication challenges, they are leadership tests, because anyone can speak when things are easy. But calm, emotionally intelligent communication under pressure, that's rare, and the people who master it become trusted, respected, and influential in every area of life. In today's video, we'll break down why difficult conversations go wrong, the psychology behind emotional reactions, the 7 leadership habits that transform conflict into connection, and lessons from 3 powerful books: Crucial Conversations, Never Split the Difference, Dare to Lead. By the end of this video, you'll know how to stay calm, confident, and respected, even in the hardest conversations. So take a deep breath, and let's grow. Why difficult conversations feel so hard. Most people think communication is about words, but difficult conversations are actually emotional battles happening beneath the surface. When tension rises, your brain shifts into survival mode. Your heart rate increases, your body prepares to defend itself, and suddenly, listening disappears. That's why smart people say things they regret. That's why calm discussions become arguments. According to Crucial Conversations, difficult conversations usually involve 3 things: high stakes, strong emotions, opposing opinions. And when those 3 collide, people tend to react in 2 unhealthy ways. 1. Silence, avoiding the issue, holding feelings in, pretending everything is okay. 2. Violence, interrupting, attacking, blaming, trying to dominate the conversation. But leaders do neither. Leaders create safety, because people only become honest when they feel safe enough to speak honestly, and that changes everything. The goal of a difficult conversation is not to win. It's to understand, solve, and preserve respect. That's real leadership. The first rule: control yourself first. One of the biggest myths about leadership is that great communicators always know the perfect thing to say. Not true. Great communicators know how to manage themselves. Before you lead the conversation, you must lead your emotions. In Dare to Lead, Brené Brown explains that courage and vulnerability go together. And one of the bravest things you can do is stay emotionally grounded when tension rises. So before entering a difficult conversation, pause. Ask yourself, what outcome do I actually want? Am I trying to solve the problem or protect my ego? Am I listening to understand or listening to respond? Because when emotions drive the conversation, clarity disappears. Here's something powerful. Calm people are not always naturally calm. They've trained themselves not to react immediately. That pause, even for a few seconds, can completely change the direction of a conversation. Listen like a leader. Most people don't listen. They wait for their turn to speak. But exceptional leaders listen differently. Former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss explains in Never Split the Difference that people become calmer when they feel heard. Not judged, not corrected immediately, heard. One of his most effective techniques is called tactical empathy. This means understanding someone's emotions without necessarily agreeing with them. For example, instead of saying, "You're overreacting," a leader says, "It sounds like this situation has been frustrating for you." Notice the difference. One creates defensiveness. The other creates openness. People don't open up because you're right. They open up because they feel understood. And when people feel understood, they become more willing to understand you too. Stop trying to win. Here's where many conversations fail. People enter discussions with one mission: to win, to prove, to dominate, to be right. But leadership communication is not combat. If someone leaves the conversation feeling humiliated, ignored, or attacked, you may have won the argument, but you lost trust, and trust is harder to rebuild than almost anything else. In healthy conversations, the focus shifts from, how do I defeat this person, to, how do we solve this together? That subtle shift changes your tone, your body language, and your energy. Instead of saying, you never listen, try, I feel like we're missing each other here. Instead of, this is your fault, try, how can we prevent this from happening again? Leaders reduce shame. They increase clarity. One of the fastest ways to de-escalate tension is to ask better questions. Questions slow emotional reactions. Questions invite reflection. Questions create collaboration. Instead of accusations, use curiosity. For example, can you help me understand your perspective? What do you think the real issue is? What would a good solution look like for you? What are we both missing here? In Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss calls these calibrated questions. They make the other person think instead of defend, and that's powerful. Because difficult conversations become dangerous when people stop thinking and start reacting emotionally. Great leaders guide conversations with questions, not control. Body language speaks before you do. Before you even speak, your body is already communicating. Crossed arms, aggressive tone, eye rolling, heavy sighs. These signals can escalate tension instantly. Leaders understand that emotional safety is created through presence. So during difficult conversations, maintain calm eye contact. Speak slower than normal. Avoid interrupting. Keep your tone steady. Allow silence when needed. Silence is uncomfortable for many people, but silence also creates space for honesty. Some of the most powerful moments in conversations happen after the pause, not during the speech. How to handle anger without losing control. What if the other person becomes angry? What if they raise their voice? What if emotions explode? Here's what emotionally intelligent leaders do. They refuse to match emotional chaos with emotional chaos. Because emotional reactions are contagious, if one person escalates and the other stays grounded, the conversation has a chance. But if both escalate, communication collapses. A calm response might sound like this: I want to continue this conversation, but I think we're both getting emotional right now. Or, I hear that you're upset. Let's slow this down. Notice, no attack, no sarcasm, no humiliation, just calm leadership. And sometimes the strongest thing you can say is, let's take a short break and continue this later. Because timing matters. Not every conversation should happen immediately. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Difficult conversations are not interruptions to leadership. They are leadership. Anyone can communicate when things are smooth, but pressure reveals emotional maturity. Pressure reveals character. Pressure reveals leadership. Every hard conversation is an opportunity to become more patient, more emotionally intelligent, more respected, more trustworthy. And over time, people begin to notice something different about you, not because you speak the loudest, but because you bring calm into difficult moments. That's rare, and rare people lead. Remember, you do not need perfect words to handle difficult conversations well. You need emotional control, curiosity, courage, empathy, and clarity. The people who master difficult conversations don't avoid conflict. They transform it. And that skill can improve your career, relationships, confidence, and influence for the rest of your life. If this video helped you, comment below. Calm is power. And subscribe to Mindset Bloom for more videos on confidence, emotional intelligence, discipline, and personal growth. Until next time, keep growing.